Hello, AfterBuzzers. Welcome to this edition of Spotlight On. We are talking with an actress who started down under but has graced screens nationwide, worldwide. She was in the film Hunger Games, what you probably know her best for. But today we're talking about her new television series, Clever Man. We'll be right back with Stef Dawson.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Getting that hip-hop feel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You said you wanted to dance, so I'm giving you an opportunity right now.
Oh, I'm dancing. Are you dancing?
Oh, we're getting it on. Yeah. Woo.
Woo.
Hello. That's what you got. If it doesn't get any better than what you have the last 15 seconds. So, we'll try to do our best. But welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Michael Clouse. We're joined here with Stef Dawson. How are you doing today, Stef?
I'm good, Michael. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. You got a lot going on right now. We're talking out there. There's so many projects that you have working on. We'll get to those. A lot of people know you from Hunger Games. How was that experience? We'll just start off real. A lot of people probably wondering what that was like. Working with so many incredible actors and actresses, such a big budget production. What was that like?
It was mind-blowing. To come from Australia and work in literally the biggest franchise in the world, but with a story I'd fallen in love with from reading the books. I was a massive fan of the books before I was cast in the movie, so it was a dream role, It was just incredible.
Did you ever think back to when you were actually in that and you talking about you reading the books and thinking how did this come about?
Yeah, all the time. It's just one of those moments where you pinch yourself and you're like, oh, this actually happened. Because when I read the books, I kind of really very much related to Annie and her character and fell in love with her story, and then to actually get to play the part was like such an honor. I'll be forever grateful for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we'll touch more on that, but you grew up in Australia, and we talked about that. Fantastic. One of the number one place currently on my bucket list.
Oh, really?
To go visit. Oh, I love snorkeling.
Oh,
so,
me too.
Have you snorkeled in the Great Barrier Reef?
I have snorkeled in the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh my goodness.
I was chased by stingrays in the Great Barrier Reef.
Really?
Yeah. I've got scars on my knees from scrambling over coral to get away from stingrays.
Wow.
Yep.
The Great Barrier Reef just moved down to number 2 on my bucket list.
Oh, it's amazing though. It's so worth it.
Oh my goodness. So you grew up where in Australia? Because, obviously you can name the city, but the place in Australia, I know it was the capital of the province that you were in, but where in terms of East Australia, West Australia?
It's between Sydney and Melbourne. So Canberra's the capital.
Southern.
Yeah, Canberra's the capital, and I grew up there. It was a beautiful place to grow up, and I spent most of my time riding horses. That was my big thing growing up.
That sounds like an Australian thing to do.
Yeah, right? Sort of had that childhood where you were kicked out the door in the morning and you'd come back in the afternoon. That kind of thing.
That's good. Kids need that nowadays.
They do. Yeah.
Right? We need to have more kids outside riding horses, being chased by stingrays over coral.
Ironically, I was stung by a stingray in LA. In Venice.
Really?
Yeah, through the foot. I really was.
This is you.
Anyway,
you have
topic.
You have an arch nemesis. There's no off topic here. This is the Spotlight On. We're talking about you. We can talk about anything. Growing up then in Australia, you always knew that you wanted to do kind of some film, right? When you went to film school there, you did a lot of projects there in Australia.
Yeah. I did a lot of theatre as well when I was at school. The play that kind of made me think, oh, this is what I want to do. I played Kate in Taming of the Shrew. Which was such a great role, right? So that was the moment where I was like, wow, this is what I wanted to do.
How old were you?
I was at the time 16, 17, something like that. Yeah, that was really I got super serious at that point. Actually, a little bit before that, I was kind of, doing bits and pieces of theatre, but that was the play that really made me go, that's what I want.
And from there, it's maybe you can start out. From there, whenever you have that kind of recognition of this is what I want to do, then you really start pursuing things more, and you really you get sucked in.
Yeah,
you were sucked in from that role.
Completely addicted to performing and taking on a character and stuff like that. Half the battle is knowing what you want in life, isn't it? Ain't
that the truth?
Yeah.
Oh man. So then you did a lot of films there in Australia. Was that shot a lot around Australia? You did a lot of short films there. A lot of projects. Was a lot of that just straight in Australia? Was that a lot of that shot there as well?
Yeah, when I was in Australia, I did the first lead I did was this film called Wrath, and it was like this teenage girl who's, you know, you think she's really innocent at first, and then she is really not. But it was set in the middle of nowhere, in the bushland, and when you set something in that kind of landscape, it becomes like another character because it's such a harsh environment. So that was cool to get to shoot.
Is it when in Australia? I mean, there is the bushland, there's the cities. There's a dramatic difference between the two?
Yeah, and you don't have to go far. It's a little bit like LA. You just go out of the city, and then suddenly these beautiful mountains.
One jungle to the next.
Exactly. The concrete one, two different ones.
Did you know then? I mean, when you're working on all these projects, was the eventual goal to make it to these big projects? Did you have your sights set on that? I mean, obviously, like you said, a film like The Hunger Games, which is, you know, the biggest box office at the time. Did you have your sights set on that? Was that
I think America wasn't something that I thought, oh, I really want to go there and leave everyone I know and uproot myself and take a big risk. Like I didn't set out thinking that would be my path, but it was more the roles were the things that attracted me to kind of like take a leap of faith and move away. And yeah, just I don't know, I think that's what it was, and having a few people in my life that really encouraged me to do it, which was great.
Yeah, sometimes it's all about just taking that leap of faith, jumping off.
Totally.
It's
I believe in that so much.
It's refreshing. It's freeing.
It is. Yeah, tapping into what, like, your uniqueness and what you, because we're so different, like that thing inside you that makes you want to do something is probably your calling if you listen to it.
And I don't know if you have friends who haven't done that, but then they look at you and they're like, "How did you do this? How did you just took you look what you've done, and now you've done it." And it's like, yeah, you can do it too, and you encourage them to take that similar leap.
Well,
right?
I mean, for me, like it's scarier staying put for me. Yeah. Like I don't know, I find that would be way worse, like not taking that leap.
Yeah, and then dealing with the what ifs and everything else. Absolutely. So you did a lot of short films, did a lot there, and now everything's really just taking off, and you have so many different projects coming out, like you're saying, that are making the rounds kind of at the films, at the film festivals,
stuff like that.
Paper stores, Creedmoria.
Yep.
How did you balance? Did all these projects just come at once? Did you just keep signing up and were like, my schedule's not busy enough, let me just, hey, we'll add on this one?
Well, it's just funny that they're all coming out right now because I shot them at different times. I did shoot one Creedmoria shot I got right before the Hunger Games, and I shot it in the middle of that. So I'd leave one set and go to the other set, come back, and it was crazy, like being in such a huge big budget set and then coming back to a small one. Like I always think of the story of like Creedmoria where we were given water bottles with our names on it. They were like, hold on to this, don't lose it. This is your water bottle. I'm like, I got it. And then I got to Hunger Games and there was like a wall full of water. I'm like, can I have one of those? And they're for you.
This is the whole shooting, right? Is this one right here? No.
So, it took me a while to get used to that. So I just would hoard water bottles.
Yeah. Did you ever bring a couple from the Hunger Games set
did.
over to Creedmoria and be like, these are mine. No, I brought these in. It's okay. I can have more than one.
Yep. So.
Oh, man. So you didn't know when these films are coming out? Like when you're shooting Creedmoria, you don't... Was it ever like estimated of like this is coming out here and you think, oh, I also maybe could have another project?
Well, like
at that time?
Independent film is such a crazy thing. Like you're in the trenches, and Creedmoria was an indie film in every sense of the word, and it's also a beautiful film. It's something I'm really proud of, but it was a really low budget, and we really worked our butts off it, and everyone pooled resources to get it done. And you just don't know what path each film is going to take after that, because the hope is that they get distribution, and all the films that I've done recently are kind of on that journey of film festivals and picking up awards, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one of those films is that Paper Stores, which is fantastic. The whole premise of you kind of writing the papers for a college student.
She's a ghostwriter, which is really cool.
And struggling almost with that identity of, being that writer behind the scenes, It's such an interesting plot.
It's a really cool plot, and I think it's something that a lot of people relate to with, you know, people that are trying to pay off student loans and stuff. It just gets to a point where like, this isn't set up to facilitate my dreams and what the point is. And she's a girl that just kind of got sick of that, and she kind of, you know, gave the finger to the system and started being a ghostwriter, and meets this guy who she kind of falls for, and he falls for her, and then he doesn't treat her so well, so she outs him through the papers because she can.
Absolutely. Not hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Right?
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a revenge tale.
What do you look at when you're getting all these, you know, scripts, you're trying out for these roles? What do you look for? Is it because you have a lot of independent films? Obviously, you had the really big budget. Now you're doing this television show, Clever Man. What do you look for when you're looking at a script and they're trying to pitch you a part and you're auditioning? What are you looking for? Is there a certain thing that you're like, this is what I would like to have in a project?
I think it's a number of things. First of all, it's the part. Like, do I want to put that out there into the world? Like, what is it about that part that I really like? And I'm often drawn towards parts about like survivalism and overcoming things in some way. Like, I think all those, they're so different. Like Candy, the girl playing Creedmoria, she's a teenage girl growing up in Queens in the 80s. Very different personality to Anna Lee in the Paper Store. Like, they're worlds apart. But you know, Candy has to overcome a lot of obstacles in her life and remains like optimistic in this kind of really messed up life. And I think it is about what speaks to me in the parts. I think I've been really lucky playing these strong female roles. You know, right now people are trying to create more roles like that, and I've been very blessed with some of these roles that I've played lately. They've been so fun. And then you've got Clever Man, which is really, you know, exciting and different. And I mean, I signed up to that project immediately. Wayne Blair has been a friend of mine for a long time. And another thing I look for is the team around it as well, like working with these people. And I've had such a respect for him and his work for so many years. It was just exciting to do a project like that.
I think it was Clever Man. I was watching an interview with one of the cast, and they talked about the writing on there is so good, and so they know, like, when the writing is good, that it's like they're going to be surrounded by such a great team.
Totally. And the team they got together for that project is phenomenal. Like Ian Glenn and Frances O'Connor, Deb Mailman, and some really exciting up and coming actors as well, like Hunter's about to break out there. And I think at the heart of Clever Man, Ryan Griffin, who wrote it, he wanted to make an Aboriginal superhero for his son. Isn't that the most awesome thing? Like,
and it just takes off into what it has become. And and you can tell in the writing that there's such passion behind that, and it's motivated. Everything is motivated from that to make something that he would be proud to show his kid, and for his child to have an Aboriginal hero to look up to, which is the first of its kind in Australia. So that's really exciting. Absolutely. And you think of a lot of these, you know, big comics. Obviously, you have DC and Marvel, and they're all based on the comic books. This is, you know, straight from scratch.
This is based in 60,000-year-old Aboriginal mythology, stories from the Dreaming. So they've never been told before, because the way those stories are passed down is through people talking. It's generation and generation. They're not written in any books. So that's like exciting.
Absolutely. For everyone listening, so we're talking about Clever Man, which is the new series that is coming out. It premieres June 1st on Sundance, and it takes place in the future, and it takes place in Australia with almost a little bit of a racial divide, cultural divide, with what they call subhumans.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of talk us through the plot a little bit. Talk us through kind of what this series is about for obviously people who are maybe hearing this for the first time.
Well, it's set in the not so distant future. So it, you know, kind of a dystopian world where these creatures have emerged, which they're given this derogatory term of subhumans, but really they're just people with extra abilities, and they have hair that covers their bodies, but they have gifts and abilities and are forced to survive in this world within the human world. And they're treated horribly, and they're kept apart. They're kept in the zone or put into terrible camps and
segregated. So
it's basically a commentary on the way humanity treats others. It's like that's what it's about. It's what happens to us when we have something that we're afraid of, and the way that we treat that.
Absolutely. And watching the trailers and watching some of the clips from that is the first thing that I thought about, is especially nowadays where there's so much cultural divide and even more, coming up, it seems that it's something that people can, I think, connect with.
Totally. It's like not just in Australia, it's everywhere. And it's like history repeats itself.
Yeah.
We haven't learnt that, we start off as babies, like not hating or not having those feelings and not being completely judgmental out of the womb. And then we just, we learn to fear, and we learn to kind of not want anything different or anything that's threatening to us. So, did
you know all the, the original, 60,000-year-old stories? Have you ever heard those before you signed up for this?
No, I mean, I knew some stories. Like growing up in Australia, there are some stories that are out there, but definitely not. This is a world, there's a whole world, and there are clever men in Aboriginal families with they're like a conduit to the spirit world type thing.
And the clever man, he's almost like the leader of, he will destined to be the leader of the subhumans, right? And he's trying to unite the groups.
Yeah, I mean, he's faced with this choice. He's been given this gift reluctantly. The story follows these two brothers that are kind of estranged, Cohen and Waru grew up thinking, that he would be destined with this gift, and it turns out that it's the other brother that gets it. So he has a choice. He has choices to make. Like, with great power comes great responsibility. That I
feel like that's from another superhero. What is that? What is that?
What is that? But it's
it applies across the board.
Archetypal hero journey. But it's really cool. So his struggle is unique in this way.
And that being shot in Australia, was that nice to be back?
So nice. It was so lovely.
Besides the stingrays,
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, Australia is such a beautiful place. It's just so cool. I shot another film there earlier this year as well, and it was just, there's things about Australia I miss, like the air and like little things like that.
The smog is not your thing, or what do you?
No, marine layer, you mean? What is that? Is that
right.
real? That is not real.
The technical term, marine layer.
When I heard that, I was like, really?
Oh man, is all your family back in Australia?
Yeah, my family's back there, and it was that show was so much fun to be a part of. We bonded immediately like a family. I mean, that's one of the cool things of doing film and TV is
absolutely, you
have this immediate family you're adopted into, and we spent, every time we weren't shooting with that group, we'd just be hanging out, and we couldn't get enough of each other. It was great.
With that being said, and you're not in the near, too distant future, but a lot of people, they watch them in the films that are in the future, and they're like, oh, this is what it's going to be like. Oh, this would be really cool to be able to have this or see this. What in there is a little bit futuristic, and was that interesting maybe to live through that and be able to kind of to work almost in that world a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it had this cool vibes. It was like futuristic, like hip hop type vibe, which was really cool. I loved the costumes, and some of the technology was just a little bit advanced, so that was really cool. But the sort of whole, the aesthetic of the whole show is really gritty and interesting, and like the people that live in the zone, which is like the area where the Harrys, it's their safe place, and people, other displaced members of society live there as well, and that place is just so cool. You just can't get enough of. I can't get enough of looking at all the things in there.
And all of the subhumans too they're physically gifted.
Yeah,
right, and so they're stronger, or they're enhanced in some way.
The Harrys. Yeah, the Harrys.
Which is a worse term, Harrys or subhumans? I wonder.
Actually, yeah, that's both. I don't know. But really, it's the people that end up being subhuman. The way they treat them, they're the ones that are like animalistic kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, there's certainly things that people can learn just from watching this. It's almost sometimes nice too, because people don't see it in their own lives, but they're able to maybe watch a show like this and be like, oh man, this is what it is. Like,
totally. I mean, it's not really, it's about so many things. You could relate the treatment of them to so many things that we, I mean, gay, straight, all sorts of things, you know, people from different cultures, like anyone that's treated differently or by things that people fear in society. It's kind of about that.
And it is a lot of fear, and especially in, you know, in this Clever Man, is that it's dominated by fear.
Yeah, which is like life.
Yeah. So true. Oh man. So we have a Clever Man. We had this Paper Stores. A lot of these other projects that you're working on. You said you're filming another movie earlier this year. Another project. Is it tough ever to balance that? You said you're going from one set to the next. How does that work as even far as scheduling?
It can be tricky, that's for sure. I feel like that's saying when it rains it pours, you know, that's true sometimes. And then you go through times where it's quieter, and I usually go a bit crazy in those times because I like to be working. But yeah, no, it is tricky, and then diving into that character and coming out and going into another one. It's also really. But
I mean, it's you're at the point in your careers that work is good. You want to be able to continue to establish yourself. You want to be able to continue to thrive and just be able to prove that you can do different things. So you're accepting, you know, you want to be able to do a lot. Yeah, for sure. I just want to keep working. Oh, fantastic. That's the dream. Is there, do you enjoy, you've done, you know, TV, you've done short films, you've done big budget movies, you've done independent. Do they each have their own dynamic? Do you enjoy certain things about each of those? Yeah, they're such different worlds, like working in theater. Theater's obviously live, so it's just that thing of, there's a lot of risk involved in that because you're in front of so many people, and you could just fall, or there's a lot of pressure. I always have those dreams where I'm like, not wearing any clothes and don't remember my lines. Like, I always get that dream before doing a theater show. Yeah. But just wake up in the middle of the night and it's like, 2 hours left to sleep. Okay. Tell me you haven't had that dream. Oh, all the time. All the time, where it's like, oh wait, no, the show is starting. No, and I'm not there. I'm gonna sing, and I don't remember how. But film and TV, I like. There's something I really love film and TV. With film, you kind of go into this world and you don't resurface until it's over, and there's something about that total immersion that I really like. Just worlds intrigue me, you know, when you can just block everything out and just be totally in it. With independent film versus, you know, something like the Hunger Games, do you feel like you have more control even over your character and over to be able to, if you want to change something, or you want to be able to say, oh, well, I think it would be better this way? Do you feel like you have more freedom, maybe? I think it's case by case with projects, and I think there's a lot of trust in filmmaking. Like, you know, working with someone as amazing as Francis for the Hunger Games, he was wonderful to work with because he would listen to our ideas and let us lead with our instincts. And I think it's such a collaborative process that there's no rules, but it's really cool. That's why I said, like, you become like a family and like a team, and then it is like an open discussion. With the Hunger Games, you worked with so many you know, amazing actors and actresses. So many. And do you learn from them? Are you the type of person who you try to learn maybe like a little bit from each of them, where you're trying to pick up little things of what can make your career better, how you can act better? Totally. I think I was like a sponge on that set, watching everybody, both as their craft, but them as people too. They were the best bunch of people. The way everyone related to each other. It was like a family, and one that I was adopted into, and it was just really, it was a special experience, and they were all very humble and very fun. It was a hugely fun set, that one. I bet. Yeah. For your fan base, was that interesting to go from, you know, doing the smaller roles and to having that and kind of having your name and face just all over? What was that like? That was something that you always want, I'm sure, where you want to be able to be known and be known for your craft, and then to have it, I mean, something like that. It was pretty crazy. It was kind of overnight that my name was out there, I guess, and social media was the thing that really made me kind of go, okay. My phone literally blew up, and I put it in the fridge because it got so... You put it in the fridge? I did. Isn't that what you're supposed to do when your phone gets hot, right? I think so. Yeah.
I put mine in the fridge.
Just text message,
Yeah,
Twitter,
like I had
Facebook,
notifications
Instagram.
and it just kind of went crazy and I just shut it in there and walked away for a while. So, yeah, it was a lot to kind of get used to, that people knew who you were all of a sudden, which is, it's a gift. It's a great gift.
Yeah.
And the fans, like for Hunger Games, they're such a wonderful, loyal fan base. And I feel like they'll be with us forever, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice, I'm sure, to be able to, now that you have, it's a blessing and a curse with the Twitter, the Instagram, and Facebook, that you're able to connect with your audience. But sometimes you want to be able to step back. I'm sure at some point. I think you have 28,000 followers on your Twitter, 29,000 or something on your Instagram. It's nice to be able to have that connection. Is it a balancing act?
I think so. I think I'm not as big as some people that have to really worry about that. But it's I think I'm still trying to find that balance of how much to use it. But it's a gift to be able to put things out there into the world and have people actually pay attention to it. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Know that, and you think back to where you first started and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
You see how far you've come.
Totally. And it does get overwhelming at times. Like, I'm not naturally one to be tweeting and Instagramming all the time. I just want to go climb a tree and ride a horse. That's cool.
Go snorkeling.
Exactly.
What do you do for fun? We're talking about all this work, and it's work, project, all of this, which is good. But when you force yourself to step off, to unwind, to have fun, what do you do?
I think for me, getting back to the way I grew up, nature is something that's really important for me. Like actually disconnecting from things and just kind of getting out there with no social media or no cameras or work and just chilling out for a bit. Like I found some places that do horse riding around here, so I started doing it again, which is great. And I think just keeping balance and good people around you, like seeing people I love. And one of my favorite places is New York. I love New York.
Upstate or the city?
The city, upstate is beautiful. I shot Paper Store there.
Yeah.
And then I shot...
Where was that filmed in New York?
Syracuse.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so right?
Papers, actually all of them. Creedmoria, obviously Queens in the 80s.
Yes.
And the Lennon Report was New York as well.
Oh yeah, upstate New York is beautiful, especially like in the summertime.
Oh, I was going to say the wintertime.
The winter, okay, that's true. I grew up in Wisconsin, so I'm done with the snow.
I love
so
the
I
snow.
always say...
I'm obsessed with snow.
Do you ski?
I do. I ski
Really?
and snowboard. Yep.
Which do you like better? I feel like most people are a ski or a snowboard.
I grew up skiing, and then snowboarding was something I discovered later and smashed myself a million times to begin with.
There's the transition where you're like, okay, you have to dedicate
really
a certain amount of time to learning snowboarding.
Yeah, and have painkillers on standby, and it was. I hope to do more of it.
It's a means to an end. You know what you got to do it. Okay. Just baby steps.
Yep.
You get it. But no, the whole upstate New York, and then Niagara Falls is obviously there too.
Yeah. I hope to explore so much of the States I haven't seen. There's so many. The 3 movies I did recently were all in New York, and I love New York.
Yeah.
I love just walking around and staring creepily at people. I'm like an epic people watcher.
The airports. When you're at an airport, is that a big thing?
A little bit. You're more like being like on a subway or something like that.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Absolutely.
If I don't get caught.
So where you want to explore other states? What else is on the list?
I'd love to go to New Orleans and like Texas, like places
Texas
like
is
that.
nice.
Yeah, I'd really like to see those places. Maybe just take a trip and see everything.
Because I mean, growing up in Australia, there's so many different, cultures in Australia that you can explore. Coming here to the States, do you enjoy just being able to learn about other culture, being able to see how other people live?
Yeah, I love cultures. I really love cultures. I've been to other countries that I really fallen in love with as well. Like Vietnam is a place that I love, and I actually speak a little bit of Vietnamese and sing a bit in Vietnamese, which is a crazy long story.
Is this the point where I put you on the spot to sing in Vietnamese?
No, Michael, don't make me.
You put it out there. I was just following up.
Oh God. Gee, are you really?
No, you don't. You don't have to if you don't want to. But we will expect a Instagram clip later. No. I was kidding. How did you learn? Was that as part of a role that you had to learn for? Or you
It was so random. I did this. One of the theatre shows I did was based on a Vietnamese fairy tale, and I got to sing one song which this lovely old man from the Hanoi Institute of Film and Television taught me, and I wrote it out in gobbledygook language and learnt one song, and it was such a beautiful song. I kind of fell in love with it, and then started performing with like Vietnamese theatre companies and raising money for charities for like Blue Dragon Children's Foundation and things like that. So then I actually went to Vietnam and met some of the people that I've been raising money for, because you're never quite sure with charity work whether it actually gets to where it's going. So that was an amazing experience.
No, it's true. That's incredible. I support a child through like an organization like every month, and I want to be able to go visit him someday.
You should.
His name is Joy. He lives in Bangladesh.
Do it.
And I would be able to do that.
Yeah.
And go see him, and like it's such a connection, and it's nice to be able to give back.
Totally.
In that way.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh man, fantastic. Yeah, no, that's great. I 75% of me still wants to hear that song. I'm not going to force you to do it. So what is it like when you have all these projects that you don't exactly know when they're coming out, but then you hear they're coming out, and you're like this, Clever Man coming out June 1st. You have the movies that are already shot. Is that nerve-wracking? Are you able to put the projects behind you once they're finished and say, you know what, this is done. I can't fret about this. I can't, like Clever Man coming out June 1st. Or are you someone who's like, I really want that to premiere because I want to know what people are saying. I want to be able to hear their critiques. I want to be able to.
I don't know. I guess it's always nerve-wracking. But I'm also really proud of a lot of the stuff I've been doing. Like when I saw Clever Man, I was in Berlin at the Berlinale Film Festival, and I was watching it with Deb Mailman, one of the other amazing actresses, and we snuck in the back and watched it and like held each other like schoolgirls and like and then it finished, we were like, oh my God, like it gave us chills, So like I'm really proud of that show and what it's saying, and I feel the same about a lot of the work. So I guess it's that first bit you have to get through where you're seeing your face up there and it's like, oh God. But then you get over it. Get over yourself.
Oh man. What does the future hold? You're looking at, is there something on your list of theater, independent films, short films, big budget movies? Is there something that you still feel like you have to accomplish, or something that you want to do? What do you see in the future?
I don't know what the future brings, but for me it's all about the role and finding these interesting, strong female roles. And strength doesn't have to be like necessarily action. That would be cool. I would love to play an action hero. That'd be great. Or just this roles that really speak to me in some way. I'd love to do a Western at some point. That's something I really want to do. That
could even be shot in Australia.
It could be.
Easily.
It could be. Yeah, something like that. There's so many things, like period pieces I really love, and exploring those kind of things with worlds really intrigue me too. But who knows?
It can go wherever. All that we know is that there's going to be no shortage of work because you're an incredible star, and you just look at all the things that you have coming out. Oh yeah, of course, you're a nice person. You're a nice person. You're very successful. You're an incredible actress, and so a lot of things that we very much look forward to coming out. A lot of the movies that you said are at the film festivals right now that will be coming out, and obviously June 1st, Clever Man. Coming out. Everybody needs to check that out. Seriously, it's on Sundance. You need to watch. Go watch a clip. You'll be addicted. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Totally.
I was. Because it's one of those things, a 1.5-minute trailer, and you don't think you can get involved in a show in a 1.5 minutes, and you can.
You totally can with this show, and it's just getting more intense as the episodes go on too. It's like, I haven't even seen them yet, and I'm so excited.
What have you seen? Have you seen what just happened, like the first couple episodes?
The first two.
The first two?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Very exciting. Well, that is all for today. We appreciate you joining us. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you
Ms.
so
Dawson.
much.
Thank you very much. That's it for this edition of Spotlight On. We'll see you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.